This is the tale that most people are too courteous to share. Meghan Markle seemed to be living a dream existence. Glowing magazine covers, private aircraft, Montecito houses, and designer clothes. However, odd things happen when you pursue the money. The figures cease to add up, because the income and lifestyle don't seem to match on paper. It's a quiet Netflix transaction. The Spotify agreement has expired. The brand partnerships are dispersed, erratic, and dwindling. The luxury hasn't slowed down, however, for some reason. Close sources whisper to her entourage that someone else is subtly, covertly, and purposefully contributing to the dream's continuation. The term funding continuity is often used behind closed doors. That's a kind way of suggesting that someone is paying bills in the shadows for access rather than charity. And that's where this tale starts. Money, not fame or affection. Actual cash. Because a lady living a billionaire life without a billionaire salary is all that remains after removing the royal title and the media attention. Additionally, if you're listening, you can learn more about Meghan Markle from that mystery alone than from any interview. She became famous because of the crown. However, the wealth originated from another source. Meghan believed she was entering an unthinkable realm of luxury when she initially joined the royal family. Carriages, castles, and an unlimited royal allowance. However, she discovered a whole other world. Prince Harry is not as wealthy as the royal family. Yes, it's cozy, but it's not the billion-dollar business that everyone believes it to be. His late mother's estate and modest military pensions provide the majority of his income. The palace's the crown, not the individual, owns the lands and the treasures. Palace sources claim that Meghan became aware of this bombshell early. The golden ticket she believed she had won was really a complicated organization over which she had limited control, rather than a treasure trove. And Meghan, who had devoted her whole life to creating her own persona, wasn't designed for supporting roles. The fairy tale started to fall apart. Royal duty's allure faded, because there was one unpleasant reality hidden beyond the castle gates. Being a royal did not equate to wealth. It meant being confined. Meghan Markle also lacked self-control. According to sources, she started thinking like a planner instead of a princess at that point. She would achieve financial independence elsewhere if the palace was unable to supply it. For love of the throne, she did not wed a prince. She wed a guy with whom she could make money. You have to go back to the years before Prince Harry even entered the picture, not to Montecito or Netflix, in order to comprehend where the suspicions started. Back when Meghan Markle was still on the periphery of power and learning the ins and outs of that realm, because she appeared with the exact billionaires who would subsequently influence her social ascent during patterns, travels, parties, and planes prior to deals and documentaries. Thus, House served as both a gate and a club. Men like Ron Burkell, the millionaire investor who would later secretly transport Meghan to special events, stood behind it. Events, the type of circles where relationships were bought rather than formed. Sources claim that this is where Meghan's network originated. The one that existed long before Harry ever became a lifeline, off paper, and out of the news. And that's when the true financing narrative begins, with private access, not royal funds. The answer to the question of who pays for Meghan Markle's lifestyle is not contained in a single account. It's in the people she's bonded with. Her training ground was those formative years at Soho House. She was doing more than simply networking. She was researching electricity. Every meal, occasion, and introduction was a step toward the secret gathering places for millionaires. She got to know people like Ron Burkell, who was closely associated with Prince Andrew's social network and other royal circles. Burkell was not only a multi-billionaire, he was an intermediary. His charity circuits, private aircraft, and estates served as the unseen framework for Meghan's early social ascent. Then there were the peaceful off-season boat voyages across the Mediterranean, where actresses, investors, and influencers merged into a single ecosystem. Meghan was constantly there, even though she wasn't well known enough to make headlines. Present next to power, money, and the men who might provide the funds for her next move. And those ties remained intact. They grew up. Meghan had mastered the skill of seeming welcomed by the time she met Harry, whereas in fact, she was positioned purposefully. Her contentment was not created by royal riches. It was access, and access equals money. After you comprehend how Meghan's early years were spent behind those velvet ropes, on those private flights and in those opulent circles, the present questions about her financing suddenly seem more like continuity than conspiracy, because individuals are sponsored to enter that environment rather than stumbling into it. Every private retreat, every Soho House party, every first-class travel, all thanks to someone quiet enough to never make a public claim and strong enough to pay for it. The complexity of her current financial situation stems from this. How can the way of life remain the same when the Sussex brand fails, transactions go through, and production businesses go silent? Who pays the employees, books getaways, and keeps the aircraft in the air? Netflix checks or royal savings don't hold the answers. They may be traced back to the long-standing trend of being close to riches rather than possessing it, which predates Montecito. According to sources, the same network, which years ago welcomed a young Meghan, continues to exist in the background. Secret invites, selective exposure, quiet donors, and finance that doesn't need a contract. The whispers won't stop because of this, because upon closer inspection, yet the tale of Meghan Markle's wealth extends beyond her earnings. It has to do with the person she has always known. Meghan Markle presents herself as independent in public. The self-made duchess became a media tycoon. However, the arithmetic doesn't add up behind the picture. Her the podcast, the lifestyle brand, the Netflix series, and public endeavors have all failed. Projects lag, deals fail, and employees discreetly go. However, the way of living has not changed. Designer clothing, European vacations, private aircraft, Montecito estates, and a security budget comparable to that of royals are all still on the payroll. Whispers about the true financing source were sparked by this disparity. Because, as one source put it, when a brand collapses but the bills stay paid, the question shifts from how she earns to who sustains the illusion of independence. Until you see the hands, everything seems to be self-funded. Behind the curtain, investors are a part of any empire. Every picture has a price, and Meghan's life has always been a show funded by invisible hands, from the boats of the past to the estates of the present. It's strategy, not charity. Maintaining her visibility keeps doors open, networks maintained, and previous relationships viable. She stands for a bridge. Bridges such as those between Hollywood and monarchy, activism, and influence are difficult to break. Silence, however, is the price. When your way of life relies, your independence is contingent upon the permission of your donors. The hand that finances the brand cannot be bitten. Therefore, even if everyone is debating whether Meghan is still lucrative, the reality is more straightforward. The goal is not to be profitable, it's sustainability. Her true achievement is that she has never fallen far enough to lose her. Take a seat at the table, and the illusion endures as long as that seat is paid for. Deals may come to an end. The headlines can go, however, the covert funding is still in place. Because power isn't determined by titles in the society Meghan Markle created, the world she learnt from the Soho House millionaire's renown. When everyone else walks, it's determined by who keeps your name afloat, away.